What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be going through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 33. So Game Week 33 might be quite an interesting game week for those of you on free at 34 and those of you not on the chip. If you like myself and looking to activate the chip come this weekend, I have to use all my free transfers available. So we'll be looking for some future moves to potentially use our bench boost in Game Week 37 that now has been confirmed as of today. But if you guys aren't on the free for 34, you're probably preparing for it with the dead end of your team. But in this video, I'll be going through my own team selection, showing you guys what moves I have to make with 2 free transfers, and I will be making both of them. Before that, I'm going to go over a quick recap of how Game Week 32 went, before jumping into all that goodness about Game Week 33. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So as mentioned, a quick run through of how Game Week 32 went. Unfortunately, it was a red arrow of about 5k places, and we're currently sitting just outside the 50k mark at 53k. So since wildcard in Game Week 30 hasn't really been that sunshine and rainbows that you are expecting, and 60 points in Game Week 32 had a Game Week rank of 4.1 million. Now at least in Game Week 33 we have 2 free transfers that will hopefully boost us up the ranks, and with the free hit in Game Week 34, hopefully that's a secured green arrow. But in the comments down below, how did your Game Week 32 go? I've seen some massive scores but also some pretty low ones, so if you guys are somewhere in the middle. Let's go on to where those 60 points came from, and we actually got some points off the bench, namely 1 point from Connor Bradley, and the rest of the bench also looked pretty bad. So Nana and Garnacho had Liverpool. That wasn't a great game on paper, same with Connor Bradley. That's the reason I benched these assets, as I wasn't expecting him to actually come off it. Then finally Van Hecker, he had Arsenal. I'm surprised he actually got 1 point there, so at least the benching decision was actually correct. Now defense didn't actually get that many more points. Petrovic matched Onana, pretty kind of terrible performance. Chelsea drawing to Sheffield United was not on the cards. At least I would have hoped for a 0-0. Now Gusto's actually the player that Connor Bradley came off for. Apparently he was actually ill before the previous 2 games, and therefore Poch gave him the kind of day off. So I just wish that Connor Bradley kept the clean sheet up until the time he was subbed off, but as you guys know, Konza had quite a big defensive mistake. Then with Ait Nori, he actually was subbed off on the 55th minute with an injury. He racked up an assist for a penalty, and if he literally waited 5 more minutes, I'm pretty sure there would have been bonus points as well. So a potential 8-pointer was lost there. So that was the difference between a green arrow and a red arrow, so quite unlucky that he was subbed off earlier. Then with Udogie, that Spurs defense like Chelsea can't be trusted at the moment, and even though he was playing quite advanced in this game, they lost their clean sheet to Nottingham Forest in the first half. So therefore a defensive performance to kind of avoid on the wildcard. These Chelsea assets have simply been terrible, and Arsenal racking up these clean sheets have come back to bite me. Now midfield department went slightly better. We're going to go from left to right, ascending order of points. Cole Palmer and Son both getting an assist in their fixtures. I know quite a few people actually captained them. The difference between Son and Palmer was the effective ownership though. I hope that Son actually got points. He was under 100% owned, whereas Palmer was the most popular Campsy option and therefore had the highest effective ownership. But Mo Salah actually outperformed the most popular option, Cole Palmer. He racked up 8 points, which was double to 16, and that was thanks to a penalty. So Mo Salah was potentially the best option, not in our own team. That was actually Saka, who also got a penalty but got bonus points. So I was quite happy that I went for Salah over someone like a Palmer, even though it was 3 points. That was 3 points gained. I just wish that he took some of those chances against United. Then we've already spoken about Saka, ended up with 10 points after picking up some bonus points. I just wish Salah did the same. Now in terms of the forward department, Erling Haaland, also another popular option. Campsy was split this game week. He matched Mo Salah after racking up a goal in that game, even though it was the early kickoff. Now Darwin Núñez also racked up an assist in that first Luis Diaz goal, and then Isaac ended up blanking in that Newcastle win against Fulham. Now in the transfer plan, I mentioned that at least Dom Solanke blanked in this fixture because he's quite highly owned within the top ranks. But as you guys can see, the 1 point from Bradley took us to 60 points. Definitely wasn't a great game week, but wasn't the worst game week in the world. Let's hope it's green arrows from now to Game Week 38. But as mentioned, let me know how your game week went. Was it a green arrow? Was it a red arrow? And where are you guys sitting in terms of the overall ranks? Now before we go over the actual transfer plan, I'm actually a little bit in a place of not knowing when my transfers are going to land, and therefore I want to show you guys my starting 11 and my bench first, and then maybe you guys can give me some recommendations. Now just a reminder, I'm free hitting next week, so therefore the 2 free transfers will be probably used this week. However, I could burn one if there's really no transfer to be made. So just remember that as you guys look through the team and just kind of plan where you would use the transfers, I'm very open to suggestions this game week. Now bench this week does have some potential benching headaches, mainly Garnacho against Bournemouth away. This is a good game on the cards for United, and Garnacho's form has actually been pretty good for his price point. Now currently I am benching Onana against Bournemouth, but you guys might think that I should start him over Petrovic. I looked at clean sheet odds today and Chelsea a lot higher than United. Also, if you guys watch the Ultimate Guide, you'll notice that they're conceding a ton of XG. However, that might lead to some more saves for Onana, and therefore he might be the better selection. So between these two, it's a little bit of 50-50, but currently going for Petrovic, and is hoping that Chelsea finally keep a clean sheet. Then the next two options on our bench, Dayvy against Newcastle. I'm actually fine benching him. I own Isaac. I hope that Newcastle score, but Van Heck is a little bit of a debate because he has Burnley away. Now you guys will actually see in my transfer plan, I might be actually selling one of my starting defenders, and therefore Van Heck will come off the bench in the starting 11. That defender might actually be Connor Bradley. He has Crystal Palace at home this week. On paper, that's a good fixture. And I actually wish that I was going to keep him for this game week. Now all eyes will be on the game tonight of Liverpool vs Atalanta. I want to see what the starting 11 is. If Trent on the bench gets some minutes, he might actually be playing this weekend and therefore Connor Bradley will be benched. Now do I think that's likely? Probably not. I think that Trent will be given an extra few days. So Connor Bradley against Crystal Palace could be a nice differential. Now I'm also starting Ait-Nouri against Nottingham Forest, but he might be injured. If you guys do recall, as I said, came off in the 55th minute with an apparent leg strain. So you might actually be out for this game week and therefore might be selling him. But if he does start, he's a great asset. There's a chance of a clean sheet, but the attacking threat is so strong from him. And all my defenders, I'm relying on attacking threat, to be honest. Saying that introduces Gusto perfectly. Do I think Chelsea keep a clean sheet? Probably not. But I guess Gusto offers some attacking threat going forward. So yes, I am doubling up on the Chelsea defense yet again. Who knows, maybe this is finally our lucky game week. Now midfield department is slightly better, easier to pick. It's Heung-min Son against Newcastle away. I actually believe that he might be a Campsy shout. Spurs are great on the counter-attack, and I believe they'll get a few chances against Newcastle. Also, that Newcastle defense, even if they don't get counter-attacks, you guys know they haven't been great, but neither has that Spurs attack going forward. But still, he's going nowhere, has the double game week 35 anyways. The same can be said about Cole Palmer, and he has Everton at home. Now, Cole Palmer was also a Campsy shout, but I think for me, it's between a midfielder and another forward, and I'll showcase that a little bit later on. But if you guys do want to postpone the game week till Monday, have your Campsy play on Monday night, Cole Palmer's an outside punt, I do believe. Now for me, the Campsy debate is between one Mo Salah against Crystal Palace at home, and you guys can probably guess the other forward. Now like Connor Bradley, I want to see that Liverpool lineup in the Europa League, but even if Salah plays, I think he'll start on the weekend against Crystal Palace. Liverpool at the moment, like Arsenal and Man City, have to win every game this season, and even though Salah missed a ton of big chances in the previous game weeks, I still have faith in him for an absolute haul. But you guys will notice at the moment, don't have the Campsy armband on him yet, but this might change come that game week 33 deadline. Now the final midfielder, and actually the one I might be taking out, is going to be Saka against Aston Villa at home. Now on paper this game might look quite bad, but Aston Villa have been shipping a ton of goals these past couple of game weeks. The only concern might be some rotation with the Champions League, Bayern coming up next week, but I think Saka will still start on the weekend. His ownership is so high, it's a massive risk to sell him, but when you have no other moves to make, you look for future transfers. Now forward department is going to be Erling Haaland with a Campsy armband. Now last night didn't have the best game against Real Madrid, but against Luton at home, that's a much easier opposition. Now like Saka, there might be some rotation here with the Champions League games either side, but let's be honest, didn't have the most strenuous game last night. I'm kind of just hoping on Saturday before the deadline we might get some leaks, as if he's guaranteed to start, he's definitely going to be my captain. Then Darwin Núñez up next. Crystal Palace at home is a great game on the cards, but like Mo Salah and Bradley, I just want to see what lineup they're going to be playing. So let's just say that Darwin Núñez does start and gets the majority of minutes on Thursday. I might actually be tempted to take him out for another differential punt. But his form at the moment, like Salah, missing a ton of big chances, but I guess at least he's getting them. Then our final forward, Isaac from Newcastle, kind of hoping for a high scoring affair here as a Son and Isaac owner, and I actually back him to do quite well against this poor Spurs defense. It's a home game for Newcastle at least, which should be quite a boost, and therefore I'm fine actually owning him, even though Solanke has United at home, who've been shipping a ton of XG. So fingers crossed Isaac can at least match Solanke this game week, before I bring him in probably on the free hit in game week 34. Let's see what game week 33 holds for us. But as you guys can see, the starting 11 and the bench actually looks pretty decent this game week. If you guys had 2 free transfers in your back pocket with this squad, what would you do? I'll go over my current transfer plans, but you guys might have better suggestions. So let's go on to those transfer plans, and as mentioned, 2 free transfers and 0.3 in the bank, so not a big upgrade can be made off the bat, unless we do a downgrade. Now the transfer I want to focus on is the one that you guys saw in the transfer plan video on Monday, and that's Saka out for Foden. So both these two players actually went off limping in their Champions League games, but Phil Foden's looked a little bit more serious. And after the game, Pep was quite dismissive of the kind of injury, just said it was a dead leg or a knock, and Phil Foden might have actually been able to carry on, but he was subbed. Now with both these two assets, there could be rotation, but I do believe Saka's more likely to start than Foden after that kind of knock, as both teams have drawn in their first legs of their Champions League games. So if they can be rotated, I think they will be. This might be the same for Erling Haaland for Man City, but if you do get early team sheet news that Foden starts, I might be tempted by this move. Now the reason for this is that, as I mentioned in the team selection, I don't actually want to make this move for Saka out this week, but unfortunately there's other moves to make. I have to look at future plans. Now the best way to kind of depict this is if you were on the wildcard in Game Week 35, would you have Saka in your lineup? And the answer might actually not be yes. So therefore for me, I'm having to kind of future-proof my squad, looking at the bench boost for Game Week 37, and as you guys know, Phil Foden has a double game week then. So I guess what I'm hoping for is over the next couple of games, Foden outscores Saka, leading into Game Week 37, because then for me this move would have paid off. Now also I just want to offer a correction from the transfer plan video. I actually moved the fixtures one left, and therefore he had Chelsea and Spurs coming up in Game Week 35 and 36. That's obviously incorrect. He has the North London derby in 35 against Spurs away, and then Bournemouth at home in Game Week 36. In that time, Foden is Nottingham Forest and Wolves, so the fixtures on paper might not be that bad for either squad, but as mentioned, Game Week 37's double puts this in Phil Foden's favour. So when looking at my squad, another transfer I could actually make is still sticking with Saka out, but instead of going for Foden, I could go for Anthony Gordon. The reason for this is that Newcastle yet again have a double in 37, but also Sheffield United and Burnley before that, which are great fixtures on paper. So yes, Gordon is a lot cheaper, will give me some kind of grounds to upgrade in terms of our defense, and therefore he might be quite an attractive option. So yes, taking Saka out for Gordon on paper looks simply terrible, but as mentioned, what other moves did you guys make? Now to make matters worse, I'm going to go over a United attacker, so yes, I could go for actually Bruno in for Saka. Now similar to Gordon as well as Foden, has a double in 37, and has Burnley, Crystal Palace and Bournemouth before that. So you guys might be commenting that I've absolutely lost my marbles. Don't worry, I know, Bruno is cheaper though, so let's give us some funds to upgrade our defense. So out of these three options, Foden, Bruno as well as Gordon, who do you guys prefer? I guess if we get news that Foden starts against Luton, he's the best selection. So let's just say that we do the Saka move. If we don't, I don't really know what transfer to make. I could take Darwin out for someone like a Højlund, yet another Manchester United attacker. Also could go for Alvarez for Darwin, might even captain him because he's guaranteed to play against a pretty bad Luton side. So that transfer, if we don't take Saka out, or if we do, is probably the first move I make. The second one is a defensive upgrade. Now the player I'm looking to take out is going to be Bradley, then mentioned Van Hecke could come into the starting 11, depending on who I actually bring in. So the two selections on my mind at the moment is Burn as well as Guardiola. Burn I'd bench this week, whereas Guardiola I'd probably play. Now the nice thing about Newcastle, even though they're not keeping clean sheets against Sheffield United and Burnley, surely they do. I guess I said that about Chelsea as well. Then in terms of Guardiola, you guys saw that goal last night against Real Madrid. The defensive injuries at the moment are pretty stacked for Man City, and therefore surely he's nailed in that back four. There is always some rotation risk though. As you guys know, Pep Roulette, their Guardiola might not be the most enticing option, but I will need him to start both games in 37 to really make this move worth it. So out of these two, depending on who I kind of bring in for Saka if I get the funds, Burn and Guardiola could both be reached. Now if I do go for someone like an Anthony Gordon, I go for a more expensive defender, like a Ruben Dias who might be more nailed. But otherwise it's basically Man City versus Newcastle for my defensive transfer, and if Aït-Nouri is injured, I'd probably take him out before I do Connor Bradley. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on these transfers. Were these the same moves that you guys were deciding? And if you have something completely different, put it in the comments down below on my Discord server where I'm slightly more active. You guys can post your own transfer lemmas there if you guys want to, and I'll try to help you guys out as far as possible. Otherwise, make sure that you guys watch tonight's game, Liverpool vs Atalanta. That lineup's going to tell us a lot about the selection. And I'll see you guys in the deadline stream coming up 1 hour before the deadline on Saturday. But this is basically a wrap for the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you didn't subscribe if you have subscribed yet. I'll see you guys in the deadline stream coming up shortly. But for the time being, I'm going to be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.